A strange silence often arrives before chaos, as if the world itself is holding its breath. Today, that silence has been broken. Across vast stretches of land, more than 200 million people find themselves under the shadow of a single immense force, a triple-threat megastorm that does not arrive with one face, but many. It is a bomb cyclone, a rapidly intensifying storm that gathers strength with frightening speed, unleashing blizzards that bury cities in snow, while at the same time spinning tornadoes that tear through communities like invisible hands of destruction. This is not just weather. It is a reminder of how fragile human certainty can be. In one region, families wake to a white horizon, where snow falls so heavily that roads disappear and the familiar becomes unrecognizable. In another, the sky darkens, the air grows heavy, and the wind begins to twist into something violent and alive. Sirens cry out, not as noise but as warning, an urgent call to prepare, to protect, to endure. And somewhere in between, rain pounds relentlessly, flooding streets, homes, and hearts with equal force. The scale of this storm is overwhelming. It stretches across states, crosses borders, and disregards the lines we draw on maps. It does not ask who is ready and who is not. It simply arrives. Yet within this unfolding crisis, something else emerges. Something quieter but far more powerful. People begin to look for one another. Neighbors check on neighbors. Strangers become helpers. In the face of immense uncertainty, small acts of care become anchors of stability, a shared blanket, a warning call, a door left open for someone in need. These are the unseen forces that push back against fear. Storms like this test more than infrastructure, they test resilience. They ask difficult questions. How prepared are we? How connected are we? And when the systems we rely on begin to strain, what remains? What remains is humanity. There is a lesson hidden within the fury of this megastorm. Nature does not act with intention, yet its power reveals truth. It shows us that control is often an illusion, and that strength is not found in resisting what cannot be stopped, but in responding with clarity, courage, and unity. For those in the storm's path, this is a time for vigilance. Heed the warnings. Seek shelter. Protect what you can and accept what you cannot control. Preparation is not fear, it is wisdom in action. And for those watching from afar, this is not just a distant event, it is a shared reality. The forces shaping one region today may shape another tomorrow. Awareness, respect for nature, and collective responsibility are no longer optional, they are essential. The winds will eventually calm, the snow will melt, the floodwaters will recede. But the impact, both visible and unseen, will remain. And so will the memory of how people responded when faced with something larger than themselves. In the end, the storm is not just a story of destruction, it is also a story of endurance, of connection, and of the quiet strength that emerges when everything else is uncertain. And perhaps, in that understanding, there is a different kind of warning, not of fear, but of awareness. A reminder that while we cannot command the forces of nature, we can choose how we stand in their presence. The megastorm represents the overwhelming and unpredictable power of nature, combining multiple threats, blizzards, tornadoes, and flooding, into one large-scale crisis affecting millions. The megastorm stands as a powerful reminder of how immense and unpredictable nature can be, especially when multiple forces combine into a single, overwhelming event. In this case, it is not just one type of weather disturbance, but a rare convergence, a bomb cyclone rapidly intensifying, unleashing blinding blizzards across one region while simultaneously spawning destructive tornadoes in another, and drenching vast areas with relentless rain that leads to dangerous flooding. Each of these elements on its own is capable of causing widespread disruption, but together they form something far more formidable, a system so vast and complex that it affects the lives of over 200 million people at once. What makes such a storm particularly unsettling is not only its scale but its unpredictability. A bomb cyclone by nature strengthens at a speed that can outpace preparation, turning an ordinary weather system into a severe threat within hours. This rapid intensification leaves little room for delay. Communities that may have felt safe the day before suddenly find themselves in the path of extreme conditions, forced to react quickly to changing forecasts and urgent warnings. The blizzards reduce visibility to near zero, paralyzing transportation and isolating entire areas. At the same time, tornadoes develop with little warning, their paths uncertain, their impact devastating. Floodwaters rise steadily, sometimes silently, until streets, homes, and critical infrastructure are submerged. The sheer geographic reach of such a megastorm adds another layer of complexity. It stretches across regions that experience completely different weather conditions at the same time, creating a scenario where emergency responses must adapt to multiple crises simultaneously. Resources become strained, communication becomes critical, and coordination becomes both more difficult and more essential. It is not just a local issue, it becomes a national or even continental concern, drawing attention from authorities, media, and citizens alike. Beyond the physical destruction, there is also a psychological weight that such an event carries. The constant alerts, the sound of sirens, the uncertainty of what comes next, all contribute to a shared sense of vulnerability. People are reminded that despite technological advances and modern infrastructure, there are still forces beyond human control. This realization can be unsettling, but it also brings clarity. It strips away the illusion of complete control and highlights the importance of respect for the natural world. At the same time, this kind of event forces societies to confront important questions about preparedness and resilience. Are warning systems effective enough? Are communities equipped to handle multiple threats at once? Are individuals aware of how to respond when conditions escalate so quickly? These questions become urgent, not theoretical, as the storm unfolds in real time. In the end, the megastorm is more than just a weather event. It is a demonstration of nature's scale and complexity. It challenges assumptions, tests systems, and affects millions in deeply personal ways. Its unpredictability and intensity serve as a powerful reminder that while humanity has made great progress, it still exists within a larger, more powerful natural world that can shift without warning, demanding attention, respect, and constant readiness. Human control is limited in the face of such natural forces, reminding us that certainty and stability can quickly disappear when nature intensifies. When a megastorm of this magnitude unfolds, it does more than disrupt daily life. It quietly dismantles the illusion of control that many people carry. Modern society is built on predictability, schedules, systems, forecasts, and the belief that with enough technology and planning, most outcomes can be managed. Yet, when a triple threat storm surges across vast regions with blizzards, tornadoes, and flooding rains all at once, that sense of certainty begins to erode. What once felt stable suddenly becomes fragile, and what seemed routine becomes uncertain. The limitation of human control becomes evident in the speed and scale of such events. Forecasting models may provide warnings, but they cannot fully capture the precise behavior of a rapidly intensifying bomb cyclone. A shift in temperature, pressure, or wind direction can change the storm's path or severity within hours. Emergency systems may be in place, but they can become overwhelmed when millions of people are affected simultaneously. Roads close, flights are canceled, power grids are strained, and communication networks can falter under pressure. These are not signs of failure, but reflections of the sheer magnitude of the forces at work. For individuals, this loss of control often manifests as anxiety and urgency. People rush to prepare, stocking supplies, securing homes, checking on loved ones. Yet there is always an underlying awareness that not everything can be accounted for. No amount of preparation can guarantee complete safety when facing something so vast and dynamic. This realization can be deeply unsettling, as it challenges the belief that outcomes are always within human influence. However, within this limitation lies an important shift in perspective. When control is no longer absolute, attention turns toward what can still be managed. Decisions become more focused, more intentional. People begin to prioritize safety, communication, and adaptability. Instead of trying to dominate the situation, they learn to respond to it. This shift, from control to response, is subtle but powerful. It reflects a deeper understanding of the relationship between humans and the natural world. On a broader level, societies are also reminded of their vulnerabilities. Infrastructure, no matter how advanced, has limits. Systems designed for efficiency can struggle under extreme stress. This does not diminish progress, but it highlights the need for continuous improvement, flexibility, and resilience. It encourages investment in better forecasting, stronger construction, and more effective emergency planning. In this way, the storm becomes both a challenge and a lesson. There is also a philosophical dimension to this experience. The idea that control is limited is not new, but it is often forgotten in times of comfort. Events like this bring it back into focus. They remind people that uncertainty is a natural part of existence, not an exception. And while this may seem unsettling, it can also be grounding. It encourages humility, awareness, and a deeper respect for forces beyond human design. Ultimately, the megastorm does not just test physical structures, it tests mindset. It reveals how people react when certainty fades, when plans are disrupted, and when outcomes are unclear. And in doing so, it offers a quiet but powerful lesson, that true strength does not come from controlling everything, but from adapting wisely when control is no longer possible. Despite the destruction, moments of humanity emerge, where people support each other through small but meaningful acts of care, unity, and compassion. Amid the force and chaos of a megastorm, when winds roar, snow blinds, and sirens echo through the air, something quieter begins to rise, an instinct that is deeply human. While the storm itself does not choose its path or its impact, people within its reach begin to make choices that reveal a different kind of power. In the middle of disruption and fear, acts of care and connection emerge, often in the smallest and most unexpected ways. When entire communities are placed under threat, the boundaries that usually separate individuals begin to fade. A neighbor is no longer just someone who lives next door, but someone whose safety matters. A stranger is no longer distant, but someone who might need help. In these moments, people begin to look outward instead of inward. They check on the elderly, offer shelter to those without power, share food and warmth, and provide reassurance in a time when uncertainty is everywhere. These actions may seem simple, but within the context of a large-scale crisis, they carry immense significance. It is often in these conditions that the true strength of a community becomes visible. Infrastructure may weaken, systems may strain, but human connection has a way of filling the gaps. When official support is delayed or stretched thin due to the scale of the disaster, individuals step forward. Volunteers organize, families support one another, and local networks become lifelines. The storm may disrupt communication lines, but it cannot erase the basic human instinct to help. There is also an emotional dimension to these acts of compassion. Fear, when faced alone, can feel overwhelming. But when shared, it becomes more manageable. A simple conversation, a message, or even the presence of another person can reduce the weight of uncertainty. In this way, emotional support becomes just as important as physical assistance. People are not only protecting each other from the storm, but also from isolation and despair. Interestingly, these moments often reveal a contrast between what is essential and what is not. In everyday life, people can become absorbed in routines, ambitions, and distractions. But when a megastorm disrupts everything, priorities shift instantly. Safety, family, shelter, and connection take precedence over all else. This clarity, though born from crisis, offers insight into what truly matters. The sense of unity that forms during such events is powerful, but it is often temporary. Once the storm passes and normalcy begins to return, daily routines resume, and the intensity of that shared experience fades. Yet, the memory of those moments remains. People remember who showed up, who helped, who cared. These memories can reshape perspectives, encouraging stronger community bonds even after the immediate danger has passed. At its core, this aspect of the megastorm tells a different story, one that runs parallel to the narrative of destruction. While nature demonstrates its overwhelming force, humanity responds with resilience rooted in connection. It shows that even when external conditions are at their worst, there is an internal capacity for kindness that does not diminish under pressure. In the end, the storm exposes vulnerability, but it also reveals strength, not in structures or systems, but in people. And while the winds eventually calm and the skies clear, the quiet impact of these human moments lingers, reminding us that even in the face of immense uncertainty, compassion remains one of the most reliable forces we have. The storm highlights the importance of preparedness, awareness, and taking timely action, showing that readiness is a form of wisdom, not fear. When a megastorm begins to take shape, the difference between chaos and survival often lies in one crucial factor: preparedness. It is easy to dismiss preparation as unnecessary during calm and predictable days, but when multiple threats, blizzards, tornadoes, and flooding, converge into a single event, readiness transforms from an option into a necessity. It is not driven by fear, but by awareness, discipline, and the understanding that time is not always guaranteed when conditions escalate. Preparedness begins long before the first warning is issued. It is built through habits, knowledge, and a willingness to take potential risks seriously. Weather alerts, forecasts, and early warnings exist for a reason, yet they are only effective if people choose to act on them. In many cases, the danger does not come from the storm alone, but from hesitation, the decision to wait, to assume it will not be severe, or to believe there is still more time. A megastorm challenges this mindset by evolving rapidly, leaving little room for delayed action. On an individual level, preparedness can take simple but meaningful forms. Having emergency supplies, securing living spaces, understanding evacuation routes, and maintaining communication plans with family members can make a critical difference. These actions may seem routine or even excessive during normal times, but in the face of extreme weather, they become essential layers of protection. They reduce panic, provide clarity, and allow people to act with purpose rather than confusion. Communities, too, are measured by their level of readiness. Emergency services, local authorities, and support systems must coordinate effectively under pressure. Clear communication becomes vital. Accurate information delivered at the right time can prevent harm and save lives. When systems function well, they create a sense of order within disorder, guiding people toward safer choices even as conditions worsen. However, even the most advanced systems rely on public cooperation. Preparedness is not only institutional, it is shared. There is also a deeper dimension to preparation that goes beyond physical readiness. It involves mental and emotional awareness. Facing a megastorm requires the ability to remain calm, to think clearly, and to adapt as situations change. Panic can spread quickly, especially when uncertainty is high, but a prepared mindset helps counter that reaction. It allows individuals to process information, make decisions, and support others without becoming overwhelmed. Importantly, preparedness should not be mistaken for pessimism. It does not mean expecting the worst at all times, but rather respecting the possibility of it. It is an acknowledgement that while not every warning leads to disaster, every warning deserves attention. This mindset creates a balance between caution and confidence, enabling people to navigate risks without becoming consumed by them. As the storm unfolds, the value of preparation becomes increasingly visible. Those who have taken steps in advance are often better positioned to respond effectively. They face challenges, but with a degree of stability that comes from planning. In contrast, those who are unprepared may find themselves reacting under pressure, where decisions become more difficult and consequences more severe. In the end, the megastorm reinforces a simple but powerful truth. Readiness is a form of strength. It is quiet, often unnoticed, and sometimes underestimated, but when tested, it proves invaluable. It allows individuals and communities not only to endure difficult conditions, but to move through them with greater resilience, clarity, and control over what can still be managed. Beyond destruction, the event carries a deeper message about resilience, connection, and how people choose to respond when faced with challenges beyond their control. When the immediate force of a megastorm begins to fade, when the winds slow, the snowfall lightens, and the floodwaters gradually retreat, what remains is more than physical damage. It is a lasting imprint on the minds and lives of those who experienced it. Such events do not simply pass. They linger in memory, in altered routines, and in a deeper awareness of both vulnerability and strength. While the storm may be measured in hours or days, its impact stretches far beyond that limited window of time. One of the most profound realizations that follows such a crisis is the resilience people are capable of. During the storm, survival and safety take priority, but afterward comes the process of rebuilding homes, communities, and a sense of normalcy. This process is not immediate, nor is it easy. It requires patience, cooperation, and determination. Yet, time and again, people demonstrate an ability to recover, to adapt, and to move forward even after facing overwhelming disruption. This resilience is not always loud or visible. Often, it is found in quiet persistence, in the decision to start again despite uncertainty. Connection also takes on a new meaning after the storm has passed. The shared experience of facing something so powerful creates bonds that did not exist before, or strengthens those that were already present. People remember who stood by them, who offered help, and who showed compassion when it was most needed. These memories become part of a collective story, shaping how communities see themselves and how they respond to future challenges. In this way, the storm, despite its destructive nature, leaves behind a thread of unity that can endure long after the physical signs have been.